this, if I remember right, would have been about 2006. If I remember right, it was about 2006. So every night we would carry out an exercise. It would vary what the exercise was, but this night we were practicing recapture and assault operations. And we had a dedicated training structure for it where it was an empty bunker, no weapons or anything in it, but it was just like the real thing. And I was on scene commander for that exercise. And when you were dealing with nuclear weapons, in normal CQB, you want to secure the perimeter of a building, and you want to make sure that your backs are covered and all this. When you're dealing with nuclear weapons, you have to get custody of the weapon immediately, so you don't take the same safety or security measures you would take. So we get to the structure, we set up the assault force. We haven't swept the desert behind us or to the sides of us because, again, you have to get to the weapon. But we have an oversight patrol who's up on high ground, and they're several hundred meters away, and they are overlooking everything. They can see everything, and they can see behind us. And if there's a threat, they can engage it with a machine gun. As our assault force is getting ready to go in, the Overwatch Patrol, Whiskey 11, calls over the radio, and they say, "Hey, be advised, you've got 2 individuals in the desert behind you. They're proned out in the desert behind you."
And is this
Okay.
inside the facility or in the desert outside the fence?
This is inside the facility, and it's in the desert in between streets. So in between
Wow.
streets where the bunkers are at, there's
So this is a
about a
this is
hundred.
a serious breach of security.
This is as serious as it gets. But we assumed it was part of the exercise. Initially, we assumed it was part of the exercise. So I told the assault force, go in, and then I told the machine gunner on the Humvee that's parked in front of the doors, keep an eye out behind us, be aware, assuming, again, it's an exercise. Within seconds, though, our security one, our flight chief, comes with the radio, and he asks for Whiskey 11 to say again, to make their report again. And Whiskey 11, also assuming these are 2 individuals that got put out there, because we would grab other patrols, they'd be bad guys, so that we would have someone to exercise against. So he tells them, "Oh, I've got eyes on 2 individuals. They're prone down in the desert." I forget the distance. It was within like 50 to 75 meters behind us, though. And then security one immediately calls control, and he calls for an exercise terminate. And as soon as he says that, I know, oh, this is real world. Like something's
So
happening.
so you start putting live rounds into your guns at this stage.
So we exercised with live rounds, which I know sounds
Wow.
crazy to some people, but we trained how you fight. So I yanked the assault force out of there, and my first job is I'm going to set up a sweeping element. Security one calls a code red response. Code red being a security incident inside of the facility, not on the perimeter, and that's as serious as it gets. Like that's an extremely serious event.
So
So
if you see these people, are you entitled to use lethal force to stop them?
we are entitled to use lethal force. We would attempt first to apprehend them, but I mean, we had enough leeway that if we even felt that they were hostile, we could have used lethal force. But you do want to first attempt to apprehend. But that being said, we were ready to use lethal force, absolutely.
Do you see what these people or beings are?
So we set up the sweeping element, pushed out into the desert, and the way that I organized people was one guy would have naked eyes, the guy next to him would have night vision. That way you got 2 different modes of seeing. And then we also had the handheld thermals. Um, our Overwatch patrol that was seeing the whole thing, they could see the individuals on the thermal the entire time because they were giving us information on exactly what they were doing.
Are
And
they
according
recording? Are
to
they recording this? Is there any recording of the images?
no, the thermals we had didn't have recording capabilities,
Right.
unfortunately.
Sorry for
Um,
interrupting. Keep on going, please.
no worries. So as we are moving up, Whiskey 11 that's on Overwatch tells us that they're reacting to us, that they're basically adjusting to how we're approaching to constantly keep concealment between them and ourselves. That definitely tells me that These are people. We assumed they were people. They're intelligent. They don't want to be caught. They don't want to be found. So I've talked to one of the guys that was overwatching on the Humvee that was at the front of the structure, so not the machine gun team. He told me that he was getting intermittent sights of the individuals on the thermals. So he was also seeing individual thermals intermittently, but because his angle wasn't as good as the Overwatch machine gun team, he couldn't keep them constantly inside of the thermals. But from our point of view, when we got to within 15 to 10 meters of the two individuals, Whiskey 11 called over the radio and said, hey, they just disappeared. They just apparently just blinked out. We went to the position where they were at, and you could see on the ground that there was scuff marks from dragging, as if someone had been proned out and moving, crawling. With our handheld thermals, you could see residual body heat on the ground as well. That was quickly dissipating.
So how many seconds after they were there did you get there?
Oh, as soon as they told us that they disappeared, I told my guys to rush forward, because once you lose sight, you can't take the risk that they're going to, I would say 3 to 4 seconds.
Did you or any members of your team at any stage see these shadowy humanoid-shaped beings?
The only visuals was on the thermals. Nobody that I know got eyes on outside of the thermals.
Now, I understand there's an incident where you looked up at one stage and there was a figure standing about 100 meters distant. You've told me about this previously. Is this a separate incident, or is this incident?
No, this is a separate incident.